Another week has gone by and we still don't feel any closer to XDEFIANT. And as the internet does so very well, they're complaining, and they're saying it's missed this opportunity. But is there any truth to what they're saying? And is XDEFIANT's time really over? Well, I think we should start with a little history lesson. Last year in March, we all had our hands on XDEFIANT in the public test. And I think I speak for most when I say this, but I absolutely enjoyed my experience, although I'm sure we can admit it was a bit rough around the edges. So we thought these changes would be made to smooth out the release period and maybe add some additional content. I and many others thought a summer release date could be perfect, but as the year went on, we began to realise that 2024 was closer and closer, and the likelihood of it being ready faded. Early on this year, and the whispers began to surface once again that the game was closer to being ready. Rumours suggested a window of late February, but then that date passed. It then looked certain that the game was going to release in March, which many players saw as ideal due to the down period that Call of Duty usually has at this time. But by now, you understand the pattern. XDEFIANT didn't come out. I just want to bring up the fact here that Mark Rubin and the Ubisoft team never officially announced the release date at this time. I think they did back in the summer last year, but I can't remember anything concrete ever coming out from the team behind the game. This hasn't stopped the leaks coming out from behind the scenes though, as every month it seems that a new journalist is coming out and telling us to expect XDEFIANT coming out soon, and that is just weeks away. But this is the very thing that seems to be frustrating and disappointing fans. Listen, I totally understand that these leakers and journalists have more information than the general player base that may lead them to believe this game is going to come out. But again, if nothing concrete is announced by the team, I'm not trusting anything. It's that constant cycle of hype and disappointment that has really led to the frustration surrounding XDEFIANT, and it's sad to see for someone like me, who yes, is really excited for this game, but I can wait as long as I know a quality product that's had enough time in the oven is on its way. Let's just look at it through the simple lens of modern gaming. How many games do you know that release early to get them holiday sales in, but that aren't quite ready? And your new holiday gift might not be ready until later that year. How many games do you know where the publishers put pressure on the devs to force out the game, to feed into the hype? How many games do you know which are rushed in development and come out looking like this? In modern gaming, it's harder to name games that aren't doing these things, and when we do get a complete game, like Elden Ring for example, the entire community sits back and respects both the game and the company behind it. Now the company behind XDEFIANT isn't perfect. In fact, they're far from it, and there has been recent cases of their games being constantly pushed back and still coming out feeling mediocre. But with XDEFIANT, we all played the public tests and betas, and for most of us who missed that classic, arcadey, bright, colourful, and most importantly, lacking in skill-based matchmaking first-person shooter, this was exactly the game we're looking for. As of late, there has been some disputes with the Ubisoft developers, with one dev coming out and saying that the Ubisoft team was copying Call of Duty, and that was potentially the reason the game was taking so long. However, Mark Rubin has denied this, and he says that the reason the game's taking so long is to fix vital systems with the game. Whatever the reason is, we don't actually know yet. So wouldn't it be better for us to be patient and play the game when it does come out, and see who was really correct in this argument, instead of creating this drama around XDEFIANT, which is continually hurting the game? The last point I want to go over is this notion that XDEFIANT has missed its release window. I'll be honest, I do understand where people are coming from, but this is such a short-sighted way of looking at the situation. Obviously we know XDEFIANT's main rival is Call of Duty, and no, it won't overtake COD, and it would be naive to think that any game can, so the best time to release this game would be at a down point for Call of Duty. Last year, during the test phase, was a downtime for Call of Duty, so people wanted to see the game then, but it simply wasn't ready. You could certainly say that right now is a pretty low point for COD, so once again people are desperate and excited to get their hands on a new FPS game. It seems that people think that if the game releases any other time other than these two release windows, the game is just going to come out and flop, but I think very differently here. As far as the future of COD's concerned, many people see Black Ops Cold War as the COD game that's going to save the franchise. And yes, whilst I'm excited for the game too, and it probably will do some things right, but this game isn't going to be on the level of the original Black Ops trilogy, for the simple fact that modern COD can't do that anymore. Skill-based matchmaking will be there. We probably won't have a traditional prestige mode. Are we really going to have 10 plus maps on release? Will the zombies get back to what we saw in Black Ops 3? Whilst XDEFIANT won't have COD zombies, it will definitely have way more than 10 maps. It's going to have a working prestige mode, and it won't contain skill-based matchmaking and casual. So there is still a place for this game to exist, for players who don't like those things. And guess what? If Gulf War does have those things somehow, XDEFIANT will still exist, and provide an alternative, and continue to give Call of Duty the kick up the arse that it needs to innovate and progress. XDEFIANT hasn't missed its release window, it's missed your window. So to end this, I think we just need to allow the game to come out, so then we can finally judge it. The amount of hate I see for this game already, you would have thought it would have come out looking like Cyberpunk 2077. But yeah, that's my little rant over with. Drop a like if you're still hyped for XDEFIANT, because I certainly am.